This is Fowl Players Radio, your podcast for arts, entertainment, and pop culture. Welcome. My name is Michael Spedden, your host. Every episode features fun, fascinating stories about people in the performing arts, actors, authors, dancers, writers, musicians, athletes, you name it. Folks who are center stage, backstage, on camera, or behind the scenes. Sit back and listen. Let's have some fun. Fowl Players Radio is a proud production of the Fowl Players Group and the official podcast of the Fowl Players of Perryville.
Hi, this is Bud Becker, and you're listening to Fowl Players Radio.
Hey, this is Brian Damage from Kicks and Rhino Bucket, and you're listening and watching Fowl Players Radio.
This is Just Bill.
This is Rat Bastardson.
And this is Joe Poodle from Red Dye Number 9, and you are listening to Fowl Players Radio.
Hey, Mary Jo Peel here, and you are listening to Fowl Players Radio.
And folks, welcome back to another episode of Fowl Players Radio. Michael Spedden here. Today's guest is Gina Schock. Gina, this is her book, Made in Hollywood. Gina, as it turns out, is from my old neighborhood. We grew up in, didn't grow up together, but grew up in Dundalk, Maryland, right outside of Baltimore City. And we had a great talk about her book, The Go-Gos, growing up in Dundalk on the east side of Baltimore. All kinds of great things, and I really enjoyed talking to her. She's a really, really nice person and had lots of great stories from the road in her book, and I really recommend that you buy this book. It's a real treasure of rock and roll history. A lot of pictures that she took, she constantly had her camera on her, either her Polaroid or her regular 35 millimeter camera, and just documented the hell out of everything, and really put out a great book. I highly recommend this. Where you can get the book will be written in the show notes, folks. So be sure that you check there and get a copy of this. She's going to be coming to the Hard Rock Cafe in Baltimore, for those of you that live in Maryland, on April 14th at 7 o'clock. So I would recommend that you get your tickets and come on down to see the show. You can subscribe to Fowl Players Radio on YouTube. We have our YouTube channel at Fowl Players Radio. Of course, you can find all of our episodes as well, the audio version, on fowlplayersradio.com. So make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. And we have all these other mediums, all these other platforms, in other words, where you can find Fowl Players Radio. So make sure you go there. Give us a nice review, a nice honest review, and hit that subscribe button. It definitely helps us out in the long run. The Fowl Players of Perryville will be returning to Western Maryland Scenic Railroad on May the 6th. Tickets are available at www.wmsr.com. We will be returning to Maryland Party Boat on April 8th, marylandpartyboat.com for tickets. And we will be returning to Fifth Company Brewing on May 12th, fifthcompanybrewing.com. So, folks, make sure you get your tickets and come on out for a nice evening of murder mystery. We'll be right back after these words. Hey, folks, the Chorus of the Chesapeake is having their second annual Bull and Shrimp Roast. To benefit the chorus, it's going to be on Sunday, May 21st, 2023, from 1 to 5 p.m. at Superior Catering Hall, 1010 South Oldham Street in Baltimore, Maryland, 21224. Tickets are $50 each. There will be a cash bar available. No BYOB or coolers will be allowed in. For more information and tickets, contact Bob Mattis at 410-435-1947. We hope to see you there.
Hello, this is John Piet,
Kevin Schmidt.
And Jerry Bozick.
and we're August, a little band from Virginia. You can hear our story, other stories from the legendary Baltimore, D.C. music scene, and much, much more with Michael Spedden on Fowl Players Radio. You can find it at www.fowlplayersradio.com, on YouTube, and wherever you find podcasts online. Keep rocking.
This is A.D. Adams, and you are tuned in to Fowl Players Radio with your host, Michael Spedden.
Yeah, hi, this is David Simmons from DC Star, and I am just encouraging all of you to tune in to Michael Spedden's show on Fowl Players Radio and love the rock and roll of the past and the art of the future.
And folks, welcome back to another episode of Fowl Players Radio. Today, I am here with somebody who I could have been neighbors with growing up had I known her back then. She's a rock and roll Hall of Famer. one of Dundalk's very finest here, folks. Please welcome Gina Schock to the program. Gina, welcome.
Hi, Mike. How are you?
I'm doing great.
I'm home.
You're home. You're home. You're in the Dalk.
I'm home.
That's great.
It's very cool to be here speaking to you. It feels very good. Feels good. It's warm. It's comfortable. I love it.
That's great.
It's a beautiful day.
It is. It really is nice outside here.
Great.
I was reading I've read your book here. This kind of gets a little funky with Zoom backgrounds here. Gina Schock, Made in Hollywood. Gina, what a wonderful book this is here. I read it and I didn't want to put it down. And just like at the end of a popular president's term, everybody's like 4 more years. I was like 4 more chapters. I just wanted to read more and more and everything. And I just absolutely love the way you've documented your career. What was it like getting all this together here?
It was a monumental task, and that's why I put it off for so many years. I put it off for at least a decade, at least.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And the girls were just saying, I was taking photos all the time, and the girls were like, yeah, and then I'd pull all the photos out when we were on tour, and we'd all get hysterical looking at stuff and just having a blast looking at all my photos. And they were like, you need to do a book. But it was like, oh my God, the thought of trying to get all that together into one place, but then I found the right person to help me do that. Mm-hmm. And he came to my house in San Francisco and was like, oh my God, Gina, this is a treasure trove of Go-Go stuff. We'll be able to get a deal. This is not going to be a problem. So we primarily my book is a book of my photographs, but then that one thing led to another. And then I started writing. I had no intention of writing anything except like a line under each photo, but it didn't work out that way. And I'm really happy that I started writing about what was going on. Maybe for that particular photo that you're looking at in that particular time in the history of the band and in my history, my personal history. And so I am so happy with the way it turned out, because I wrote every word in there. That's me. You can, anybody that knows me can say, oh wow, that Gina definitely wrote that. And I'm just pleased with, I didn't think I could do it. And I did it. I'm like, geez, you know what, Mike? I keep saying this to everybody. Anything you think it comes your way, jump into it, man, because you surprise yourself at what you can accomplish if you just put your mind to it. And I mean, that's been my motto my whole life, and it hasn't changed. I mean, I'm older now, but that's not stopping me. I'm doing more and more. I'm just keeping busy, and I love it. And I can thank the Go-Gos for this incredible life I've had. And of course, my parents.
Of course. Absolutely wonderful. I mean, I just, I couldn't put this book down, when I started reading it and everything.
It's Mike, it's the perfect coffee table book.
Yes, it is.
You can, you leave it, you pick it anywhere you pick it up. You could just start reading, and that's okay. Any spot is good.
It really is. It really is. And, just reading the story involved with it and everything here. Now, obviously, we're both from Dundalk. Thank you all very much, everybody. And I liked reading about how you would save your allowance and walk up the Jaegers. Now, what a name from the past, right there, Jaegers music.
Well, no, Jaegers was the high class music store. That was that was in Hollandtown, right?
Yeah.
I walked up to Petro's.
Petro's, you're right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Petro's was like old man Petro was walking around in his shop all the time. I'll never forget. I know exactly what that guy looked like. I'll never forget, because I'd walk up there with $50 in my pocket or something for my allowance savings, and try to talk him into selling me a cymbal, or a tom-tom, or a foot pedal, or a cymbal stand. And he was very accommodating. He was a sweet old guy,
Yeah, Petro's.
But I couldn't afford Jaeger's prices. I had to get like used equipment. I couldn't afford new stuff.
Right. The thing is about the mom and pop places, because I used to go to Dundalk Music, David Leone's place down in the shopping center. And that was right. That was the neighborhood.
Right where the Strand?
Yep.
Right by the Strand?
Yep, absolutely.
I saw The Exorcist Michael, I saw The Exorcist at the Strand. I'll never forget that. Well, of course, that movie, that's such an impression on me. It frightened the hell out of me. and I saw it at the Strand, and I was so freaked out when I walked out of that movie theater that night. Whatever. Just a little aside as we were moving forward here.
Oh, what about that? The Strand. Well, you remember when they filmed the diner? You may have been out in California, but they did film parts of the diner. Yep.
Yep. I remember where they had it set up on Boston Street, right?
Yeah.
Is that Boston Street? Yeah. Right on the water. I'll never forget when they were filming that, because even though I left here in 79, but I've never really left here. My parents were here, and as long as my parents were here, I was coming home. I left in 79. I never missed one Christmas at home with my parents.
Oh, wow.
In all those years. And besides that, I came home like 3 or 4 times a year, and I'd stay for 2 weeks, maybe even a month every time I came home. Anytime I had off, I'd come back here, because I was traveling so much, and I had an incredibly close relationship with my mom and dad. So I was always back home here.
Yeah,
trying to soak them up.
Yeah, it seemed like they were very supportive of you, from what you said in the book. I mean, because you made a real leap when you left here and you went out to California. They were it seemed like they were very supportive of you doing that.
Yes. And they were, I'm saying here in retrospect, God bless them. They were probably so freaked out. I was the baby. I was like 21 going on 22. And here I am leaving. The first time I was on a plane was when I flew with Edie from LA, from Baltimore to LA at 21, So, they were frightened. But they trusted me. I told them I'd call them every day, which I did. And that was a ritual that continued for my entire life. I would call my mother just about every day of my life and check in. That was our thing, to talk.
That's right. Yeah, that was that was quite a big leap, to go out there.
Well, you know what? They like I said, they had faith in me, and they had instilled in me something that you can't buy, and that was having faith in myself. Believing that anything is possible if you just focus and put the time in, that's necessary, that you can do just about anything that you dream of.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely.
I fully believed that when I left. When I left here, I fully believed I was going to be a rock star. I really did. But that was part of my parents, letting me know that it was okay to believe that. It was okay to strive for that. But my mom's last words to me were, Gene, if it doesn't work out, you remember, you can always come home.
Right. Well, that's great to have that kind of a support behind you. I wanted to ask you, you had mentioned just, talking about Edie, and, I'm a musician myself, and, my one music partner, that I play in an acoustic duo now, played in bands years ago. The fellow I play with, Johnny Trotta, in a band called Winter Sun. And after you left, Edie, to go to California, I guess she continued on. I don't know if it was called the Edie and the Incredible Edible Eggs again, but she had a band, and Johnny had actually played with her a couple of times, filling in for Rob Fahey at the Marble Bar, and I think the Maryland Gallery, I think it was called, is what he told me.
Yeah.
And it turns out it's a really small world, isn't it?
I can't believe it. It's like we've all sort of, what is it, like 6 degrees of separation or something, or everybody seems like we've all met the same people over the years.
I think, yeah.
So yeah, it is weird. As we were saying earlier, it's a small world. But it's all been good for us.
Right.
And thank, God bless her. Edie was such a sweetie. She was such a sweet woman.
Yeah,
all she wanted to be was famous. She loved being in the spotlight. But when it was over, she wanted to just relax. Initially when she was doing John's film, she was kind of wild, but then she just wanted to be there for the camera and then go home and relax.
Sure. Oh, he had her playing some parts too.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I tell you,
fantastic.
With a lot of people really got into John Waters around here when Hairspray came out. Now, people knew about him before, but I'll tell you a story. A number of people, a couple guys I knew in college, had part-time jobs working at not Blockbuster, but mom and pop video stores,
Yeah.
and Hairspray comes out, people go out and they rent Hairspray, they take it home, the kids are in their pajamas and eating popcorn on the couch, and mom and dad are showing them the dances they did back in those days, and they're having a good old time. So then they return Hairspray and they look on the shelf, they're like, oh, look, another John Waters movie, Pink Flamingos. Let's show that to the kids. Yeah.
Pink Flamingos is my favorite. That's my favorite.
It got to the point
where
a
lot of folks. Go ahead, but I think a lot of folks that's one of their favorite.
Yeah. It got to the point where they had to keep it behind the counter, and people had to ask for it, and they had to explain to people what they were renting, because it wasn't Hairspray.
Yeah, thank God for John Waters.
Oh yeah.
But what's so funny is when you watch his films and people see that, they are mortified, but I'm always say, come to Baltimore, because you know what? People in those films are people like that I grew up with in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
Real characters.
Oh yeah.
Real characters. Like that's the way it is here. And I'm sure that's, the same in many neighborhoods across the country. It's kind of chock full of crazy people, or interesting people, colorful people, should I say.
Yes.
They just need to be put on the screen, and you never know what you're going to get. Well, John was expert at finding these folks and and documenting it on film, and writing some great stories, and having the perfect people to play these roles in these films.
Oh, he sure did. I mean, when you look at some of the people that he's had in there, the cast of Pink Flamingos, and and he would grab a lot of people that were local. Again, most of them were local. Just colorful characters he had
Female
in there.
Trouble, and oh my God, what was the one with Smellorama? There was one that had a party.
Polyester.
And sniff.
Polyester.
Huh?
Polyester.
Polyester. That was a good one.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. I anything he does, I watch, and and I've read several of his books, and actually he's an acquaintance, and so it's very nice. I have a nice relationship with him.
Right, and Desperate Living was another one. If you remember Desperate Living,
good one.
I worked with George Stover.
Wait, that was
the one that Mortville. Yeah, Jean Hill was in it, the lady from the greeting cards.
Yeah,
and George Stover was in it. He played the husband who Jean Hill smothered him to death by sitting on his head.
You know what? I'm gonna not rent. Like I was going to say, I'm going to go rent it. Oh my God. I want to see that again. I haven't seen that in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to view it.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a good one.
Yeah.
Yep. I've had George Stover on the show too. I've worked with him in some other films and stuff that I was in, some films, some indie films from this area here. He's a real nice guy. He's got some great stories, worked with John Waters quite a bit. So,
right.
I wanted to ask you this too. Another question I had. I remember seeing the Go-Gos. It was on one of the late night shows. I don't know if it was Letterman or Leno or Carson.
We did Letterman so many times. My God, he liked us. We did all those shows, but Letterman, I think we did the most.
Okay, I think because I remember he was, the interview was going on, and he said something about he asked you if you were from New York, and you're like, no, I'm from Baltimore, and you kind of set the record straight on that one. Do you remember which one that was?
I think that was when we did Johnny Carson, and Joan Rivers was filling in.
That might have been it, yeah.
And I was like, no, Joan, I'm from Dundalk.
That's right. I remember that was something that stuck out to me. I remember that because when you said that, I was like, yes, that's it.
Oh my God.
Representing us very well.
You bet. Making the mark for the community. I love Dundalk. No, I'm kidding. You honestly though, Michael, you know what? I'm happy I grew up where I did.
Me too.
I had an idyllic childhood here. This neighborhood was incredible to me and my family. Everybody we all knew each other.
Yep.
We'd have, block parties, and it was usually, all the parties that we'd have would be probably at our house, because we had a screened in patio area.
Yep.
and
Mhm.
we'd go down the shore and catch crabs and bring them up. We'd have crabs, steamed crabs, and it was a wonderful setting here. It was
Mhm.
when I think about it, I mean, it was just absolutely perfect. Could have been
Right.
better.
Right.
Nobody locked their doors. I remember laying
Yep.
in the front doorway here with a pillow and a blanket
Mhm.
during the summer. That's before we had air conditioning. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. We did the same kind of thing. We did the same kind of thing.
Hmm.
And the 4th of July was always huge from what I remember. They had the parade, through main area of Dundalk. People would just flock to it, go to the Dundalk Heritage Fair afterwards.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
and you said your
Didn't Fort
dad worked.
McHenry have a lot of fireworks too, Mike?
Yeah. Yep. Yep. And the fireworks were
Because I
usually over at North Point Junior High too. They would, and you could see them all around, but that's where it
right.
was usually. And you said your dad worked at the port, the marine terminal, or was it?
No, yeah, no. Dad worked at Pier 1 down on Clinton Street, where all
Okay,
the piers
okay,
were down there. And now
yep,
they've like knocked everything down, and it's just the pilings and stuff. And they're going to build condos there.
yeah, okay. I know where you mean. I know where you mean.
Yep, right down on Clinton Street. My father worked there. Well, ever since I could remember,
Mhm,
and then my mom had, well, as in the book, my mom had several different careers, but one of them was she wanted to have a carryout shop, and so Dad leased the property right next to Pier 1 and built a little structure there, and that was Cat and John's, and so it was a carryout shop.
I know
And
where that
Mom would be
is.
there from like 6 in the morning till 3 in the afternoon, and in the summer I'd work there. Now, crazy as this is, I was at Kathy's house, and she was like, "Did you ever see The Wire?" And I was like, "Nah, I didn't," because I watch old films. I'm just in the TCM
Mhm,
is the thing, and that and documentaries. So she said, "You need to see this all." But anyway, I'm watching, and then like towards the last episodes, like when the guys from New York, the mafia dudes from New York, come down and
mhm,
they meet. It's in my dad's restaurant. That's where it's happening. And
mhm,
the counter was the same. Everything was set up exactly the same. I was like, "Oh my God, Dad, if you were alive, you wouldn't believe this. You wouldn't believe
mhm.
they're doing it in Cat and John's." How cool is that?
That's
Right
awesome.
next to Pier 1. Ah, Jesus.
That's awesome. I used to
That
work at
was
the marine
exciting.
terminal years ago. I had a job down
Oh,
there,
okay.
and
Yes, and my brother worked there too. My brother worked at Pier 1, but he
mhm,
was he was a checker for a while. He did different things.
mhm. Yep. I also and then 3 generations of my family on both sides were Bethlehem Steel. So you
There you
probably,
go.
that's Dundalk right there, or as they
Yeah,
say
it
down
was like
there.
the Hammonds 2 doors up. They were Bethlehem Steel. It was like you either worked at the GM plant, Bethlehem Steel, or on the waterfront here,
Yep.
right?
Mhm. Yep. Yep.
And you
Or
made good money, and it
yep.
was union strong.
It was back in those days. It really was.
Yes,
And
yeah.
my great grandparents and grandparents lived in the town around Sparrows Point before they moved out to Dundalk too. If you remember that, I'm
Okay.
sure you do. The
Yes,
town that
yeah,
was in
sure.
there. Wow, this
Yeah.
is really good. This is great. I saw too that you mentioned in your book that you went one of your first concerts you went to was the Who and Zeppelin at Merriweather. I wanted to
Yeah.
tell you when my wife and I bought our house, we found a whole bunch of old newspapers in the house, and one of those actually had an ad for that concert. It was May 24th, 1969, and that was like a week before I was born. And
Well, I hope you saved that and framed it, because that's a historic show, because they never did a show together like that.
well, you know what I did?
Did you know that?
I scanned it, and I think it accidentally ended up getting thrown out with a bunch of stuff, but
Oh no.
I
Oh,
did
that's
scan
crazy.
it. Yeah.
Michael, you are punished.
I know.
You're
Well,
punished for that.
yeah. Well, that happens, I guess. But
Well,
I did
listen, you know what?
scan it.
I've been telling that story for years about,
Mhm,
my first concert being Zeppelin opening for the Who.
mhm,
And then somebody corrected me about, like, or not corrected me, but said, "Gina, do you know that was the only time that ever happened?" And I was
hmm,
like, "No, for some reason I thought, well, I knew that was the first time Zeppelin had been to the States, and I
mhm.
thought they were touring together. I didn't realize that was the one and only show that they did together,
Right,
where
right.
Zeppelin opened for the Who.
Mhm. Wow,
I
that's
didn't know that." And I
I
was
didn't
like,
either.
"Wow, 11 years old, my first concert, the whole thing's historic in my mind."
That is. I was looking when you started, with the Go-Gos, and I was just looking at, some of the bands that you had mentioned that you got the opportunity to open for the Stones. You went to England and you were out there with the Specials and Madness. And this is just really, that was really a who's who of early MTV right there, including yourselves.
Yeah, we played with the Pretenders. We played with Iggy at festivals. We B-52s.
Mhm.
We played with a lot of folks, and
Mm-hmm.
but also got to hang out with a lot of people that I idolized growing up. And so, oh my God, it's all a dream come true. It really is. I mean, sitting in the house that I'm talking to you from right now, as a kid, my whole life was about music. It still is. All I did was come home from school. I just played records. I listened to music constantly. I spent every dime I got from my allowance on records and concert tickets and instruments until I found that I wanted to play drums when I figured it out. Drumsticks, maggots, anything I could get my hands on relating to music. I was like a crazy person. I couldn't get enough.
Right. I saw you had a picture of yourself in your bedroom. You also had a Harpo poster up too. Were you a Marx Brothers fan?
Of course.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's when they had a hookah. They were all smoking a hookah pipe, right?
Yep.
Well, of course, I imagine. Oh, it's got to be pot in that pipe, Yeah, oh my God, I had posters completely covered my walls, and some of them were black light posters. And I burned incense. And do you know, to this day, I burn incense every day in my home.
Is that right?
I love incense.
You
I get
love-
really good incense. I like Japanese incense because there's no stick in it. It's just the incense.
Oh yeah. It's like
That's
it's
supposed
like
to be
a
bad for you.
little looks like
No, I
about
get bigger ones. But I have in San Francisco. There's Japantown, so I go to this incense store in their little mall, Japanese mall, I guess you would call it. And it's I go to this store and I get my incense every couple of months when I run out. It's I love incense still from when I was a kid. It's a tradition, and I've kept it up. I love it.
That's great. That's great. The some of the other things that
Speaking of my bedroom, that's stemming from the bedroom conversation.
right. I was also another comment I had, looking at some of the bands that you had mentioned you played with here. It seems to me, because I've followed the Go-Gos ever since I first saw you on MTV. It was really where I first saw Our Lips Are Sealed, I think was the first video or the first one
Yes,
I
it
saw.
was.
Yeah.
It was
You
the
seem-
first one.
Yeah, it seems like just looking at all the list of people that you've played shows with and stuff over the years, you're almost like a band you could have stuck with anybody. And it would have made sense in a lot of ways. I mean, maybe not Metallica or something like that, but all the the new wave bands you were in there with, the Pretenders, the Stones. Almost
It's sort of, to me, it doesn't matter. To me, music is music, and it touches everyone. Let's face it. And so I feel like, no matter what, if you put the Go-Gos with the Stones, we're a little bit different for sure.
Right.
Good songs are good songs.
Right.
People want to hear it, and they love it. And also, like, we are great live, Mike. We're fantastic live.
Yep.
So, we always put on a good show. When we played with the Police, that was an incredible, to go see the Police and the Go-Gos, it was packed. And it was a great show to see. It was, because when that was happening, we went from touring in a 12-seater van to, going to a big tour bus and playing in 20,000 seaters, from clubs to 20,000 seaters, like in a day.
Right.
And we were slugging it out for like 6 months, and our record was sort of stalling, Beauty and the Beat. Then we got on that tour and were exposed to tons of people, and they liked it. So the record started selling. And then we got an invitation to play it on Saturday Night Live. And that was the icing on the cake, because after that, like a week or two later, the album, I think it either sold 1 million or went to #1. It was a big landmark for us. I mean, then it was just, we were off. We were going, skyrocketing at that point in time. So it was, you know, and really we could have been with anybody, but that was a really nice pairing. Great songs and great live shows.
Right.
And
Right.
you know, we both admired. We loved the Police, and they loved us. I'd watch them play; they'd watch us play
That was
every night.
you know, the interesting thing about that too is, you know, I knew Stuart Copeland, but then you told me about his other two brothers, you know, within the record business, you know, Miles and the other one I can't.
Well, Miles was the head. Miles managed the Police, and he was also the head of IRS Records,
Right,
which is
right.
the label that signed the Go-Go's. And then
Yeah.
the other brother had FBI, which was the booking agency that
That's
booked the
right.
Police and booked
That's
the Go-Go's
that's
and
what
many
it
other
was. Yeah.
bands.
hmm
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's FBI, yeah, the Police
Mhm.
and IRS,
Right.
the
Right.
Copeland brothers.
Exactly. I never knew all three of them before. I mean, I'd heard the names. I didn't know that they were related or whatever. But
Oh yeah,
that's
and
interesting.
they grew up in Lebanon. They grew up in Lebanon, and that's where, you know, I mean, because Stewart started the Police. That's
Mhm.
where he got that 1 and 3 beat instead of the 2 and 4. He grew up in Lebanon, being influenced by the beats
Mm.
in the Middle East.
Oh, no kidding. No kidding. Interesting.
Mhm.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah.
I just saw that Andy was out on tour.
Andy Summers?
Did you see that, Mike?
No, I
Yeah.
didn't. No, I
And
didn't.
yeah, because I think Stewart's out there killing it.
Mhm.
And Sting, I think, is starting to do shows. And then I saw Andy, and it was like, he was billed as the, in big letters, Police. So
Huh.
it must be, I don't know what that is, but that's how it differentiated from the Police to the Police.
Mhm.
And legally, I guess that's how he can use the Police name. I don't know. I just saw that the other day, and I was thinking, like, well, that's
Mhm.
weird. But legally, I guess it must have to be that way, so that, you know, people remember he's the guitar player in the Police. And it's
Mhm.
3 guys. I haven't heard anything they've done, but I guess they're doing all the Police stuff
Mhm.
because
It's
he's
funny.
exceptional. You know,
Oh, he is. He is.
all three of them, exceptional players and extremely creative. And
Oh,
they were
this
all
they
nice
are.
fellows.
You know, I had mad respect for the Police. They were just phenomenal. They just really put out some great stuff. It was just a
Oh
shame,
my God.
you know, that, you know, they didn't, it broke up after a while. But I guess all bands go through that. I mean, including, you know, the Go-Go's. I mean, you know,
You
you were
bet.
able to you went through, you know, your breakup time and everything, but you were able to start working together again. And I guess
Yeah, we broke up in 85 and got back together in 90 and have been together ever since.
yeah, yeah. Well, I guess, you know, you were able to get everything worked out that you were able to work out and everything. And I was glad that, you know,
Oh,
it's a good thing it worked out that way. Um,
well, there's a thing with the Police. There were 2 super strong personalities in that band, and that was Stewart and Sting.
yeah, yeah,
They sort of butted heads a lot of times.
right.
You know, and then of course Sting, being the main songwriter, was making a fortune compared to the other guys were making money. Don't get me wrong, but I'm
hmm
sure Sting, you know, if the other guys were getting, you know, $10, he was getting $1,000 to their 10. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So yeah, and we had that same sort of thing happen in the Go-Go's, and that caused a lot of problems. Caused the kind of was part of the breakup thing, and
hmm
but we worked it out. We worked it all out.
Oh, good, good. I'm
And I
glad.
think it stems
You
from
know.
bad advice from the beginning. Getting bad advice on how to split, you
hmm
know, it did really cause a problem. And when you're in a band and you're all working hard together, you need to split everything equally, or else it's going to be a problem if you're successful. I mean, I know managers these days that will not sign a band unless they split it equally, because they know the minute they have any success, if
hmm
somebody's making a lot more money, they're going to break up. It's inevitable.
Right,
Why am I
right.
going to work my ass off as hard as somebody else and not get paid what they get paid? You know,
Yeah.
when I'm contributing to
hmm
what's our brand. What is our brand? I'm a
hmm
part of that. So, and a
hmm
person and someone who helped give the value to whatever the brand may be.
Hmm. Yeah, I could, and that's probably why a lot of the people who, you know, you get people that end up leaving and going solo, like, well, why do I need these guys now since I'm the one that's writing all the hits? You know, I guess that's something that happens as well. You know, they could
Well,
just,
and you
you
know
know, bring
what?
in.
Ultimately, that's fucking stupid,
hmm
because I mean, just look at the Beatles. They're better together as the four. Anybody, the
hmm
Stones, Mick Jagger's done solo, Keith does solo things. It's the Stones, it's the Beatles. You can go out and do your thing, but you should always try to keep, the band together that gave you the opportunity to do everything that you now can do. That's my train of thought.
Right.
I mean, I'm out doing what I'm doing right now, and when the Go-Gos can start playing again, I'm there.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
in the meantime, I'm going to do what I do till everybody can get back together.
I'm going to keep my eyes open for the Go-Gos coming around. I am coming to see you on April 14th at the Hard Rock.
Oh my gosh, thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, we're rehearsing now, and I hope it's going to be good. I'm working my ass off. It's going to be good. It'll be fun because it's a 3-hour show basically, and it's going to be, I'll do a book signing. We're going to do probably 10 or 12 songs, and then it'll be an in conversation with. So I'll be talking, questions, Q&A with the audience and all. It's going to be a time well spent. Like, I'd like to see that.
Yeah.
I think it'll be great, Mike.
That'll be great. And I hear you got John Allen playing drums with you.
Yeah, and I want to get him up front to sing and play guitar on some songs too.
Yeah, he's
I
good.
want this, I want it to be I like being in a band, and I like what everybody brings to the band. It's not just about me, it's about everybody who's playing in that band, and I am, welcome, guitar players and singers and all, or drummer, and John's a great drummer.
Oh,
yeah,
yes.
Man, let him do it. I'll go sing. He can play drums, I'll sing, we'll trade off. It'll be great.
Years ago when I was playing, in bands, my band Orange Sheet Parade used to play a lot of the same, in the same circuit around here. Saw those guys play a million times, and he's just tremendous. He is just a hell of a drummer. Always had a big sound. He never had a big kit, but he always had a big sound, and that was something that was just
I hear he hits them hard. He hits them hard.
His drums are like cannons. I mean, it's just it, and he was just.
I can't wait to. I mean, I've seen him on video, but I can't wait to get. He's the last person we've got in. I've been playing drums on everything, and then I stop, and then I'll get up and sing everything. I can't wait. We're going to sit down this weekend and start playing with him. I'm really excited about that. And I love the fact that he hits as hard as he does.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I mean, that's how you get the real sound out of a drum. You got to hit it. You got to hit it hard.
Yeah, he's no joke. I tell you,
if you're playing rock music.
Yeah, I tell you, he was a good choice you made right there. Good choice you made with him. Definitely.
I'm happy about that. I'm happy, and he's a nice fellow. Everybody I'm playing with, Ed is great. Steve's great. Astor's great. It's all coming together. I'm happy.
Oh, good. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing it.
And also, Mike, we're playing on the 25th or something, maybe. We're playing in Stone Pony in Jersey.
I heard about that, Asbury Park.
Stone Pony. Yeah, that'll be cool.
That's wonderful. That's great. I'll definitely be at the Hard Rock with book in hand.
We'll do the Hard Rock. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
That's first on the calendar.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome, Gina. So I just
It'll
had a couple of other things I wanted to ask you here.
Go ahead. Let's hear it, Mike.
Yep.
I'm ready.
I see you've been out doing the nostalgia circuit a little bit too, doing some nostalgia shows with Kathy.
Things?
Yeah.
Oh, so yeah. My book came out a year and a half ago, and I was out there doing book signings, and my partner Wendell, he was like, networking and meeting folks while I'm doing my book signing, and he brought to my attention, oh, Gina, a lot of folks been talking about me. You should do these Comic-Con shows, and do your signings there. And I'd never done anything like that. I know Jane had done Comic-Cons, and so I thought I would give it a try, and it's been really fun. It's been really neat. I've really enjoyed it, and I told Kathy about it and said, come on, come to one of the shows with me and give it a shot. She loved it. So now she wants to do all these Comic-Cons with me, because I just said it's the whole thing. I know it sounds kind of dorky, but it's really been heartwarming, because instead of being on stage and sort of, getting the adoration or the love from the fans, I'm, 3 to 5 feet away from them.
Right.
And talking up close, and I feel it. I can feel it. I can see it. And it's really been a beautiful experience, seeing, a lot of folks telling me, what the band meant to them growing up, what the band still means to them, how it's affected their life and on. It's, wow. It's really, I can hardly believe it. I'm just this girl from Dundalk with a dream. And I guess I feel like I as an individual in my band, we've touched so many lives. And really, to me, at the end of the day, that's what it's about.
Right.
You know, if you made somebody feel good, you made them want to get up, dance, and sing, and take them out of themselves for a little while, because music touches everyone. It just does.
What was it like? And congratulations again on getting into the hall. That was just,
Yay!
yeah, I was really glad to hear that when I heard it on the news.
That was sort of the it's a Lizzo. It's about damn time.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
So how did you walk me through how you found out about this and everything? I mean, did they tell you
Oh,
that you were
so
nominated, or was there
well, you know, we honestly, it was like every year it would come up when it was like, no, you know, nobody, nah, you're not nominated, forget about it. And so we were sort of at the point where we didn't give a shit whether we were done with it. We thought, you know what, we're never going to be nominated, we're never going to get in, so forget about
right.
it. And then I think what really changed it was doing the documentary, the Go-Gos documentary, what came out on Showtime, which is incredible. You know, it's the director Allison Elwood did such a great job of showing us as we are, and we were, you know, unafraid to be crazy and goofy like the band that we are. And I think it really showed us as we are. It was a yeah, everybody in the band loved it. No one was unhappy with what she documented and her editing choice and so forth. So that came out, and I think it just brought attention to the band again. And but then COVID happened, and we were scheduled to do, for 2 years in a row, scheduled to do shows, and that got knocked out. Anyway, we did that. We went to Sundance, and our documentary won Critics Choice Award. That was very, very cool. 2021 Critics Choice Award, Sundance, very nice. And I think that people started watching that, and you know, not, is it refamiliarized? Is that a word?
Reacquainted, maybe?
No, reacquainted. Thank you. We'll do that. We'll use that one. Reacquainted with the Go-Gos and excited about it. And then the next thing we know, oh, hey, you know what? The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, here it comes, coming up. They want you. Okay, now everybody's got to vote and see if you actually get in. And then it happened, and we were kind of knocked out. And the entire night that I was there, I was so high on adrenaline, I can barely remember what happened.
Yeah.
I felt like I was going to pass out at any moment, Michael. I couldn't believe that I was there, that we played in front of those people, that we did, hanging out with Paul McCartney, and so many things. That was just one of the things that night. It was a magical evening, one that I will never, ever forget. And, I'm saying I can't remember it. The point is that I was just, the adrenaline was pumping so hard. I'll never forget that evening. I can't remember specifics at all, because I was just freaked out. I couldn't believe it was happening.
Yeah,
but everybody, we were really happy when it did happen, of course.
Well, congratulations. Congratulations.
Yeah,
that's
pretty
wonderful.
Cool. It's pretty cool when it really happens. It feels surreal. But we did that. Pretty neat.
Well deserved.
Star on Hollywood Boulevard.
Yeah.
Boy, we're knocking it out of the park, Mike.
Right. Well, now tell me about the Star. When did that come? Or when did you get that?
Oh, I don't know. That was like 6 years ago or something, maybe.
Okay. Yeah.
But that was really neat too. And we got the Star on Hollywood Boulevard right in front of the place where we used to rehearse, which was the downstairs of a porno theater. And we used to rehearse downstairs at the Mask. It was called the Mask. And what the heck was the name of it? I can't think of it. But right in front of that place is where our Star is, the Go-Gos Star on Hollywood Boulevard.
Hey, why not? Right?
Well, right in front of the Mask. That's the important thing. What was going on below that porn theater was the Mask, where all the bands were starting to get it together. We're starting to, with everybody. It was like a club. It was the Go-Gos and the Motels and X and Fear and you name it. They were playing there. It was quite a scene, and it was quite a community where everybody was very supportive of each other in the late 70s, early 80s of the Los Angeles punk scene. And I'm so grateful that I arrived when I did. Things worked out the way they did with this band,
Right.
because it could have been much different. And you know what? I have Edie to thank, and so do the Go-Gos,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
the entire
Well,
band.
yeah. That is just that's a great story. I really like that, how you just worked out how to have your star right in front of that old place where it all began pretty
Yeah,
much, right?
that's
This
right.
is
That's
you
right.
this is just such a you did just such a wonderful job of just documenting all the, not only
Are you
the
looking at the book right now, Mike?
yeah,
It's
yeah.
good, isn't it?
This is just this is just such great history here.
You know what, Michael? I tell everybody that I know, and I'll tell all your viewers and
Mhm.
listeners, if you want to get a good look at the Go-Gos, watch the documentary,
Okay.
get my book, and get Kathy's book. And that's sort of it's there, that'll tell you a lot about the band.
I'll have to check out her book. I'd love to read it. Yeah,
Yeah,
I love
Kathy's book is a
yeah.
memoir. It's called All I Ever Wanted, and
Uh-huh.
it's really good. And then my book is hers is mainly about herself, and then about part about the Go-Gos as well, because it's a big
Mm.
part of her life. Let's face it. And then mine is really about my life, and but it's not a memoir. It's like I said, it was primarily about my photographs, and then I started writing about that.
Mhm.
And I say get both books and watch the doc, and you will be in love with this band, just
Oh
like I
yeah.
am.
Oh yeah. The book, I mean, this is just such a treasure. I mean, it's just the things
Bring
that
the
one
book
of
with you so I can sign it to you, will you,
oh, I
Mike?
will. That was the idea. I was definitely going to bring it. When I was setting this up with Wendell, I said I'm bringing my book, and I said, yeah, I definitely love to have it signed. Maybe get a chance
You
to
bet.
just talk to you in person.
You
That
bet.
would
We
be
will. We will.
wonderful. That would be wonderful.
Definitely, Michael. Very good. Very good.
I've got to get I know we've got to kind of wrap things up a little bit here. What I like to do real quick is I'd like to do what I call the shameless plug portion of the show. You can shamelessly plug anything
Okay.
you'd like to shamelessly plug, being as shameless as you want to be with no shamelessness spared, if that makes sense. So go for it.
Oh my God, Mike. There's so many things that are important to me at this point in my life. And
Mm-hmm.
the things that really move me are our issues with the environment,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
how we got to try to save this planet,
Yes. Yes.
and with animals
Mm-hmm.
and how they're mistreated. And those are things that are really important to me right now, and
Okay.
focus on that. And I just want people to be more conscious of how they live their lives and what effect it has on our planet
Mm-hmm.
and these beautiful creatures that surround us,
Oh, sure.
and balance out this planet to make it all work beautifully.
Mm-hmm.
And
Sure.
without the environment we have, without the animals that we have, and all things would be bad. It'd be a really horrible place.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we could have survived. And we need to cherish it, and we need to start giving back
Mm-hmm.
and
Sure.
taking care of our planet and the creatures that inhabit it.
Absolutely. Good point.
I
Absolutely.
don't know.
Definitely a good
I mean, I
point.
can sit here and give a lot of names of different organizations that I deal with, but it doesn't matter. You need to, you know what I mean? You need to go out and find what speaks to you. But I'm just saying, man, if you want to do something that counts, give back in that way. It's really great.
Sure.
It'll
Sure.
make you feel real good.
Yep. So coming
It
up,
counts.
yep, that's definitely very, very valid. Definitely very, very important things that you just mentioned there, of course. You'll also
Yeah.
be coming up at the Hard Rock Cafe in Baltimore, April
Oh
14th.
Jesus! I guess you were talking about that sort of April
that too,
14th
yeah.
at the Hard Rock Cafe
Uh-huh.
in downtown Baltimore. Be there, you guys, because
Mhm.
it'll be really good. I think you'll be happy. You'll have a great after. Oh, it's in the early evening. What's from 7 to 10 or something?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yep.
it'll be fun. You'll have a great evening, and you'll get to see me and
Mhm.
talk to me if you're lucky.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Dundalk's finest herself will be there.
You go, baby. That's right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So don't hang up. Folks, we'd like to thank you for tuning in. And we had Gina Schock here of the Go-Gos, Rock and Roll Hall of Famer, Dundalk girl through and through. I really enjoyed talking to you today, and I really appreciate you taking the time. I know you've got a lot going on to come and just share some memories with us and everything. It was really great. So thank you, Gina. We appreciate it.
You're very welcome, Mike. Anytime. Like I say, I'm proud of where I grew up, and I wouldn't change a thing. I wouldn't change a thing.
Absolutely. Well, folks, you heard her. You heard her, Gina Schock. And we will see you all next time on Foul Players Radio. Thanks again, Gina.
And I'll see you at the Hard Rock, guys. I love you. Okay. Bye, you guys.
And folks, thanks again for tuning in to this episode of Foul Players Radio. I had a great conversation again with Gina Schock. We talked about her book, Gina Schock, Made in Hollywood. We talked all about growing up in Dundalk and leaving to go out to California and her career with the Go-Gos. And I got to tell you, folks, this book, there's a lot of rock and roll history in here that I think you would really love. And I will leave links on how to get a hold of this book in the show notes. But again, Gina Schock, Made in Hollywood. Remember, we are on YouTube at Foul Players Radio, foulplayersradio.com, on our main website, and on all these other platforms where you can hear us. Make sure that you hit that subscribe and like button wherever you listen, and give us a nice review. That goes a long way towards helping the show. This is Michael Spedden, and we will see you next time on Foul Players Radio, folks.
Hi, everybody. Dwight Weems from Gaz the Fun Band, and you're watching and listening to Foul Players Radio.
Hi, this is Paul Castiglia, and you're listening to Foul Players Radio, the one-stop shop for all your pop culture needs.
Hi, this is Kathy Ladman, and you're listening to Foul Players Radio, the place where you get all of your good news information. Not really, but it's just a great show.
Hello, my name is Gunhild Carling, and you are listening to Foul Players Radio, and I am interviewed here, so tune in.